Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone for Startups United Lunch and Learn.
Hold on. It's not up yet.
It's not up.
No. Give it a minute. Thing's slow. There you go.
There
you go.
See my screen?
Yeah.
Which you see the Startup United screen?
Yeah, you're live now.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Startup United's Building Solutions Together, our Lunch and Learn. We'd like to introduce our new name, the Business Talk Thursday that we came up with. So our Lunch and Learn series is going to be changing to BizTalk Thursdays from here on out. I'm Peter.Llaguno. I'm one of the co-founders of Startup United. I'll introduce to you shortly Darrin.Campbell, our other Startup United co-founder. I don't think we have anyone else, right, Darrin?
No, just us today.
Okay, great. So we're going to be learning today about, or discussing today, our military veterans, our entrepreneurs that have some questions whether the VA has some solutions for us. And with that, we're going to have our discussion. But first, let's talk about our founding team here at Startup United. Again, myself, I'm Peter.Llaguno, and the CEO and founder of Culper Technologies, and we'll go into that a little bit further down the road.
Peter, hold on. Something happened. Hold on.
Okay.
I don't know why this thing is kicked out. You might have to go back, I'm afraid.
Okay. Do you want me to start from scratch?
Let me make sure it's completed. I probably need to get my other computer. It's taking a long time. I'm going to sign in from my other computer and start it.
Okay.
Because it is taking too long. Oh, let me see if I can see these folks.
Well, for everyone that's in and has logged in, just hang in with us. We'll get this on the road shortly.
Yeah, it's still. No, I think it's running. It looks like it's running. I mean, it's blocking on my side. I'm sorry. You can continue.
Okay, great. So with that, we're going to continue with our founding team. Myself, I'm co-founder of Startups United, CEO of Culper Technologies. We'll go into that in a little bit, but I'd like to introduce our co-founder of Startups United, Darrin.Campbell. He's also the CEO and founder of IndieONE. And with that, Darrin, how about if you lead us off and give us a little bit more information on IndieONE and how this Startups United got all started.
Okay, like you said, my name is Darrin Scorpio, I go by, and I am the co-founder of IndieONE. IndieONE is a live content platform for live content, and basically we produce content, and it's live right now. Of course, you can't really get any live content because of the fact that COVID is out there. But at some point, you will be able to go to IndieONE. We do have a radio side, and soon you'll be able to watch live events and television projects as well. And my co-founder is Alex.Linares. He's not in today. And our other co-founder, Christina, she's also not available, but she is she's the CEO of Nominative Development.
And both of those are awesome people with the foundation. We hope to hear from them soon. And with that, myself, I'm a co-founder, like I said, and CEO of Culper Technologies. We're a residential temperature control system that's being developed to increase your savings, especially now during post-COVID recovery. We're going to need to save electricity at home while we're working from home. Well, we hope to fill that gap. So with that, I'd like to get on with today's presentation. And that is with, well, hold on. Before I get any further, how about if we talk about what we actually do? And what Startup United started as, it started as an idea between Darrin and myself. We saw that there was a gap in our small business and startup technologies, the tech startups, whereas we needed to empower founders, but at the same time, we needed to educate and create a sense of networking. We needed to find answers to many problems. Sometimes these problems were stopping some of the small startups from going further and perhaps even failing. So we're here to fill that gap, especially today with the BizTalk Thursdays and an ongoing series. We look towards fulfilling that gap. But with that, today we've got our guest speaker, Tim.Craig, former Air Force, and the director and program manager for the Veterans Business Outreach Center, whereas a lot of the government and former military, we'd like to use acronyms, the VBOC, right? Right, Tim?
Exactly. It's called the VBOC. You're right. We are very familiar with acronyms in the military. You're right about it.
You got to love them. So, Tim, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Tim.Craig, and I am, as Pete said, I'm the director of what's called the Veterans Business Outreach Center. I am retired Air Force, retired back in 2003. My wife and I opened up a real estate company back in 2004, and I've been the director here at the VBOC in Warner Robins, Georgia, since I've been working here since about 2018, been the director since 2019. And myself, along with my team of 3 others, we're a 4-man team. We're all either retired military or current military, and our goal is to push forward the SBA mandate of assisting veterans who are looking to start, grow, or expand their businesses, even their military spouses looking to start, grow, or expand their businesses. And we'll talk a little more about that in a few minutes, if that's okay.
That is awesome. Myself, I'm also prior service, serving in the United States Navy. Shout out to my old boat, the USS Albuquerque. So let's go ahead and get this show started. Right, Tim?
Sure, no problem. So you want me to take over the screen or just gonna push for it? Great, no worries at all. All right, so again, my name is Tim. I'm a retired Air Force. I like to share with people that when I initially came into the Air Force, and again, there are a lot of acronyms out there. So in the Air Force, our job description we'll call AFSCs, Air Force Special Codes, and the Navy, they're called Naval Ratings, and Army, you have MOSs, but that was my particular Air Force Special Code, my job. I was a personnel guy, handling all the personnel programs. I am a business owner and entrepreneur. My wife and I opened a real estate company back in 2004. So I have real estate in my background, mortgage finance in my background, and also a teacher, instructor. We've been working with the Technical College System of Georgia for the past, at least for about 10 years. And of course, in 2018, I started with the Georgia Vector Center. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. And I've been the director since 2019. So I have a little bit of experience. So what I want to share with you today, go ahead, Pete. So what I want to share with you today is a very specific program that the SBA handles. And again, the SBA is a very large organization with a lot of programs geared toward anyone, but the program that I handle specifically is directly focused on transitioning military, veterans, Guard, Reserve, spouses who are looking to start, grow, purchase, or expand their business. And that program is called the Boost to Business program. The Boost to Business program is an introduction to entrepreneurship program to kind of give you the foundation of exactly how to get a business started. I like to call us the e-harmony of the SBA. We kind of connect the military with the SBA. We try to help them to navigate that ecosystem to kind of figure out who to talk to next, who to start with, and those kind of things. So our goal, our area of responsibility primarily, I actually handle the states of Georgia and South Carolina. So between those 2 states, there are 14 military bases, 9 in Georgia and 5 in South Carolina. So me and my team, we actually travel all over those states teaching this particular 2-day course. So we show up on a day, we set up, and then for the next 2 days, we actually teach the 8 foundational aspects I'm going to introduce to you today. So we're going to kind of touch on a few of those things. I'm not going to go too deeply with them. I want to give enough information to kind of help you understand exactly who we are and what we do. Now, if you look at the bottom of this first PowerPoint, you'll see the SBA partners and friends. So you have the SBA, Small Business Administration. You have us, which is VBOC. We hope to be the very first link up point to veterans looking to start a business. Then you have what's called America's SBDC, that's Small Business Development Center, SCORE, Women's Business Center, IBMF, and also Mississippi State University. So we're going to talk a little bit about, again, the 8 modules, starting with module 1, just kind of get some information about what that's all about, and we'll kind of move on as we go forward. All right, Pete? All right, so again, the Booster Biz program is designed to give you a broad overview of what it takes to actually start a business. We introduce you to exactly the foundational aspects of how to start a business. And with that foundation, we actually share with you the actual other SBA resource partners who can assist you in the things that you may need to have done. So as the VBOC, we try to make sure that we help people understand that we can help you with your business plans, we help you with counseling, and also resource partner referrals. Go ahead, Pete. So again, entrepreneurship, an introduction to entrepreneurship. If I was to ask you what you, by your own meaning or understanding, when you hear the term entrepreneurship, you probably have a broad range of definitions or meanings of what it means to you. And all those are probably very, very correct, okay? But entrepreneurship, in a very, what I like to say, is finding a way to help society push products, services forward, and also benefiting holistically people who are trying to attach themselves to those products and services. Next slide, Pete. For a very official definition, entrepreneurship is a way to organize. Go back one. Organize, manage, and assume the risk of a business. That's what entrepreneurship is. When you start talking about being an entrepreneur, you got to understand what that really means. I was talking to a young guy here just a little while ago, and I shared with him that it's more than a notion to say you want to start a business. There are a lot of things that go in that are contained or entwined in actually starting a business. You also have to have a certain way of thinking about a business. I tell people a story real quickly, I'll share right now. I tell people a story about the difference between a chicken and a pig. And in short, Granddad got up one day, had a taste for some bacon and eggs. Okay, he went out to the pig pen, well, actually went out to the chicken coop and said, "Hey, chicken, I have a taste for some eggs." The chicken laid him an egg. He went to the pig and said, "Hey, pig, I have a taste for bacon." The pig said, "In order for me to give you bacon, I have to give you my life, which means I have to make a commitment." A chicken can simply make a contribution, but a pig has to make a commitment. To be an entrepreneur, you have to have a pig-like mentality. Your whole mindset has to be committed to doing the things that you're going to be doing. And to me, that's the essence of being an entrepreneur. Okay, next slide, Pete. As an entrepreneur, you already have, or as a veteran entrepreneur, you already have the gifts, skills, and talents necessary to get involved in veteran ownership. In the military has taught us all the necessary skills and traits to be an entrepreneur. Mission focus. Pete can attest to the fact when you was in the Navy, you had a mission that you had to focus on. You had to be a critical thinker. You had to know how to solve problems. You had to build relationships. You had to manage teams and also be a part of a team. You had to be flexible, resilient, and persistent. Guess what? All those same skills are the skills that's going to be necessary to be an entrepreneur, because once you open up your business or think about going into business, you got to ask yourself, what's going to be your mission focus? How are you going to meet the needs of the people for whom you're trying to develop or provide a product? Okay. In your business, you're going to have problems that need to be solved. How are you going to solve those problems? So again, rely on everything that the military has already taught us and use all those things and transition over into being a veteran business owner. Next slide. So why be a veteran business owner? And how many veteran businesses are out there right now? 9.1% of the businesses in the US are owned by a veteran. 2.5 million, or probably even more at that certain point, okay? And you also generate 1.1 trillion in receipts. So being a veteran business owner is very integral to the US economy overall. Next slide, please. What are the 5 different pathways, as we like to call them, the 5 different ways to get involved in business? Now, if you're already a business owner, you probably got into business using one of these particular doors, one of these avenues, one of these particular pathways. So real briefly, one of the first ways to get involved in business ownership is to be what's called a new business creator. When my wife and I started our business, to us, we were starting a business that was new. Now, the business itself of real estate was not new, but we were creating a business for us for the very first time. So if you're going to get involved to be a new business creator, you're starting something yourself that's new for you. It may not be new holistically in the economic system, but it's new for you. Another way to get involved in ownership is to purchase an existing business. This is one of the newer ways that's in the market right now. You want to get involved in business. You don't want to start from scratch. but you want to figure out how you can do so. So one of those ways is to look to purchase an existing business. A third way is you can become an employee and then work your way up to become an owner. For example, the guy who is the current CEO of Smoothie King, his name is Jason Finley. He started out working part-time while going to college, worked his way up, did a lot of different various levels of executive work, and he actually became the CEO and owner of Smoothie Kings. Now, there are a lot of different stores out there like that. The person who's the owner of Jack in the Box out in San Antonio, got like 58 Jack in the Boxes out there. He started as an employee, worked his way up, and became an owner. So that's a different way to get involved in ownership. Another way, which is kind of familiar, is family business. Okay, family business. You start a business, and the business brings a family in as well. You have other people that want to get involved in the business based on their gifts and skills and talents, but that's a different way also. And one of the last ways is franchising. You're all familiar with Chick-fil-A and McDonald's and a lot of different others, but that's one of the 5 different ways to kind of get involved in business ownership. So once you sit down and think about what you want to do, what your idea is, then guess what? Figure out which one of these doors you want to walk into. Okay, next slide, please. Now, what idea do you have? And this is very, very important because you have to have the right idea to get involved in business. Because not every idea works and not every idea is for the right time. But understanding what the idea is, what the timing is for the idea, that's very important. Next slide, please. This is a process that generally you go through when you start talking about figuring out if your idea has legs and actually come to fruition. The first thing is you have to identify the opportunity. What is the product? What is the process? What is the service that you're trying to deliver in the marketplace? You got to identify that first, okay? Are you going to open up a food truck? Are you going to open up a restaurant? Are you going to open up lawn care business? What's your idea, okay? And once you identify your idea, you got to figure out how do I develop this concept? That's where the business plan is very important. I meet a lot of people on a daily basis. I talk to a lot of people on a daily basis. They have an idea, and the first question I ask them is, do you have a business plan? And a lot of people don't have a business plan, but they have an idea. And I share with them, you got to take it out of your head and put it down on paper. And that's what the business plan is all about. That helps you to develop your concept. And also part of that business plan and your concept is you have to determine what you're going to need. What are you going to need to get your business moving forward? Are you going to have a brick and mortar? Okay, you got to determine what you need. Are you going to be an online platform? Determine what you need. Okay, and then when you determine what you need, you got to figure out how you're going to get those things. Okay, are you going to use a real estate agent to get a building? Are you going to get on an online platform? Are you going to need equipment? What are you going to need? You got to figure out how to get those things. Then you have to do what's called implement and manage. You got to have your grand open. You got to open up your business, let people know that you're there to do business, and then invite them to come in. A part of that has to do with your marketing as well. And then the last piece down here talks about harvesting the venture. That's you recognizing what's your 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan for being in business. One of the things I like to say in my business is this: you don't want to have a grand opening on Monday and then a grand closing on Friday. Don't have a grand opening on Monday and a grand closing on Friday. Your business plan can help you to mitigate those things, okay? And you guys heard this time and again. Most businesses fail within the first 3 to 5 years. Veteran businesses last a little bit longer, but the reason why they fail is because of 2 reasons: lack of planning, lack of funding, okay? So don't have a grand opening on one day, grand closing on the next. Put your plan together, get your resources together, get your business plan together, and then have a very successful and sustainable business, all right? Next slide. Now, how do you find an opportunity? It's very simple. Every business is in business for a couple of different reasons. Number one, there's a problem that you're trying to solve. So what is the problem that you're trying to solve? Or what is the level of satisfaction or pleasure that you're trying to deliver? But here, think about it in these terms. A problem plus a solution equals an opportunity. As my wife and I got involved in real estate, we had a problem. We went to buy our very first house. We worked with a real estate agent who was not in our best interest because we got involved with a builder to build us a house. He tried to scam or cheat us. We got out of that deal after sitting back and contemplating that for a while. We said, you know what? We think we can do better than our real estate agent did for us. So first we had a problem. We had a bad experience. That problem turned into a solution. We say, hey, you know what? Let's go get our own real estate licenses and let's get involved in real estate. That led us to an opportunity to get involved in real estate for a few years. My wife became a broker, and we opened our own real estate company. So again, problem plus solution equals an opportunity. What is the problem that you're trying to solve? What is the satisfaction you're trying to deliver? Look in society, because society or the environment will tell you, give you ideas or clues to understand how to find something that's either going on right now that's not the right way, or you can figure out how you can make things better, okay? And how do you know you got the right one? You know you have the right idea when your business plan and your financing comes together and people start to come to your business, because you don't have a business until somebody purchases something from you. That's when you have a business. That's how you know you got the right one, because people want to take advantage of what you're trying to deliver to society. Okay, next slide, please. Now, when you start thinking about your idea or your business concept, again, you have to have what's called a very clear value proposition. What's going to make someone want to come to you? What's going to make someone want to take money out of their back pocket and patronize you? You got to have a very clear proposition. This is how this is going to serve or benefit you. Okay. What's the reason to believe that you are the best one of the market at a certain time? You got to help people understand how you're going to be different from what's already out there. That's going to be very, very important. Go back. Move forward one time. There you go. How are you going to be different from other alternatives? Okay. I tell people all the time, you have McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King. They do the same thing. They sell burgers and fries. People go to McDonald's one day, Wendy's the next day, Burger King the next day. But they found a way to niche themselves and make themselves different to make people want to come to them. Okay. Also, you got to understand, every business to some degree has a barrier to entry. What's it going to take you to get involved in that particular marketplace, involved in that particular industry? Those are things you have to understand and do research to recognize those things. All right. Next slide. What's also important is this: what is the stage of the industry? Is that particular industry growing? For example, if I were to offer you right now the opportunity to purchase ownership in a blockbuster video rental company, how many of you would say you want it? Probably not many. You know why? Because that industry has declined. And why did that industry decline? Because a new industry called Netflix came up. You need to understand what the actual industry itself is doing, and that's based on market research, okay? You also have to look at the industry and find out what's the new technology. Is it changing? Blockbuster maintained the same business model and did not change. Netflix had new technology. They were new, they were different. They gave you a level of satisfaction by simply just sending you something in the mail so you had to walk inside a building. So you got to understand those things, okay? You got to figure out what are some of the success factors in your industry. That's based on market research. Go ahead. Module 3 talks about understanding your market and also your competitive space. Now, this is very, very important. You must know your market. You must know if the industry is going up or if the industry is going down. And you also need to understand, next slide, Pete, you also must understand the fact that everybody has competition. And if you don't understand that, you're going to set yourself up for failure. Two things you need to understand: identify your market. How many people are out there want to patronize what you're trying to sell? You have to do your market research, and that's very, very key to being involved in business. It's easy to say, you know what, I want to get involved in business, and I'll ask you, well, how many people want to buy what you're trying to sell? Well, I don't know that yet. Well, guess what? You're not going to be in business very long if you don't know your market. You also need to understand who's your competition. How many people are out there doing the very same things that you're doing, and how can you separate yourself from this to be successful? Next slide, Pete. Now, you have to do what's called a market analysis. You have to understand the market size. How many people want what you're trying to sell? Demographics. What are those demographics? Age, income, salaries, those kind of things. Geographic, where are they located? Okay. How do you find people in the Southeast or in the Northeast or the Northwest? You got to figure out who wants what you're trying to sell and where they're located. You also got to understand trends, because the market always changes. You got to understand trends in the market, and your market research can help you understand that. Also, psychographics, understand people's spending habits. We have resources that can assist you in understanding all these particular aspects of how to get your business marketed the right way. Give you a real quick example. I was at Fort Gordon over in Augusta, Georgia a while back, and there was a gentleman in class who wanted to market a 14-foot fishing pole. 14-foot fishing pole. Now, if you know anything about fishing poles, You know that the average length of a fishing pole is between 6 and 10 feet long. And I said, well, how many people want to buy your 14-foot fishing pole? He said, well, me and my 5 buddies. And I said, well, guess what? That's your business right there. That's your business market, and that's a limitation of your business market, you and your 5 buddies. You got to find other people who have a desire for a 14-foot fishing pole. Next slide, please. This is important. Competition. Again, everybody has competition. If you don't think you have competition, you are severely misguided. Everybody has competition. You have what's called direct competition. People who are doing the exact same things that you're doing. I said before, McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's, they're doing the exact same thing, burgers and fries. And most of the time, they're on the same block, the same corner, right across the street from each other. But guess what? They found a way to separate themselves from their competitors and still remain in business. McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. Now, guess what happened about a year or so ago? Wendy's, for the first time, began breakfast offerings. So McDonald's and Burger King, for the longest time, had the marketplace of those 3 on breakfast. But guess what Wendy's did? Wendy's got involved in the marketplace on breakfast, and about a year later, Wendy's was the #1 fast food restaurant when it came to serving breakfast as it pertained to McDonald's and Burger King. But you have direct competition. You got to find out who they are. Who's indirect competition? Those are guys who are doing something similar to what you're doing, but not exactly what you're doing. For instance, Starbucks and McDonald's. Starbucks came out in 87, 88. They started selling these different blends of coffee. I like to call them foo-foo coffee. They smell real good and taste real good, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess who got scared? McDonald's got scared because all McDonald's did was sell you a basic black cup of coffee, maybe cream and sugar. So McDonald's said, hey, let's guess what? Let's get into the coffee realm also. So McDonald's began to advertise what they call McCafe to compete with Starbucks. They were indirect competition. Now, who is future competition? Those are people who are not here yet, but they're coming. And you have to keep your ear to the trends of what's going on to find out who's coming in your particular area, in your particular industry. Next slide. Now, again, I told you this before, but it's very, very important. You look at Netflix, you look at Blockbuster. This is all about competition, understanding your competition. 2004, Blockbuster was flying high, doing $6 billion worth of business. But guess what? They began to go on a downward trend, and this new company called Netflix began to come up, and boom, Blockbuster went bankrupt. There are only 3 Blockbusters left in all of the United States. There's one in Bend, Oregon, the home of Blockbuster. There's 2 in Alaska. You need to understand your market. You need to understand who's your competition. You need to understand who's coming to compete with you. Next slide. Do you want to get involved in government contracting? You ought to consider it. The government contracting realm is huge and is ever expanding. Okay, I'll give you a quick story. Here in the Warner Robins area where I'm located, there's a company, female-owned company. They've been in business for 2 years. 2 years, 2 females owners of the company. They bid on a government contract. Again, 2 females in business 2 years. They bid on a government contract. They were awarded the government contract. The contract was worth $42 million. They got all their I's and T's and ducks in a row. They bid on the contract and they won the contract. 2 women in business for 2 years. It's out there if you understand how to navigate the system. Next slide. Why do you want to get involved in government contracting? Well, it's pretty simple. $400 to $500 billion contract purchases are made each year. If you put yourself in the right position, if you do your due diligence and do what you need to do to acquisition these things, then you can actually win some of these contracts as well. Especially as a veteran, you have certain advantages over a non-veteran because again, there are certain what are called set-asides for veterans. About 23% of government contracts are actually set aside for veterans. And if you put yourself in a position, you do all the things that you need to do, and we can assist you with all these things. If you do what you need to do, you can bid and win these contracts. You can either be a prime contract owner or you can be a subcontract owner. What's the difference? I explain it like this. A prime contract owner is a person who has access to the whole pizza. The entire pizza is yours. Okay, you can do whatever you want to that pizza. A subcontractor is a person who only gets 1 or maybe 2 slices of that pizza. That's what you bid upon, that's what you're able to get. But both of them are very lucrative all by themselves. Next slide. Module 4, this is very, very important. You need to know your business numbers. This is called the economics of small business. You need to understand the business of your business. What are the numbers? What are the costs associated with your business? Next slide. There are 4 things we primarily focus on in this aspect. You need to understand your business model, and you need to understand your economic model. What's your business model? Your business model is how your business makes money, how your business generates money. What's the 1 or 2 ways your business generates income? Your economic model is how you use those funds to expand on your business. Next slide. There are 4 aspects of this. One is called revenue drivers. The other is called margins, volumes, and operating leverage. Revenue driver is the 1 or 2 things that your business does well to generate funds. Okay, 1 or 2 things well. That's how your money comes in. Your margins has to do with the difference between your cost of doing business and the price of doing business. Okay, I'll talk about that a little later. And also volumes has to do with how many of a certain thing do you need to sell to have a sustainable business. Now, if I were to be selling you some small hand sanitizer, I made and produced hand sanitizer. Okay, how many of those hand sanitizers do I need to sell per day, per week, per month in order to stay in business? That's very important to know. Also with this, if I'm in the hand sanitizer business, what is the cost to me to deliver or produce and deliver this? And what is the price at which I'm going to sell it to you? You need to understand those things. And then you have what's called operating leverage. Operating leverage has to do with how much does it cost you to be in business. For example, I know a guy who has a pizza shop, pizzeria. His rent, just his rent all by itself is $5 grand a month. That's just his rent, okay? His pizza sell for $3, $4, $5, okay? He has to sell at least 1,000 pizzas a month just to make rent. So his operating leverage is very, very high in comparison to somebody else whose rent may be, $500 to $1,000 a month, and it costs them less money to operate their business so they can get to their profit margin a little bit faster. So all these things are very important, and we do a deep dive in our Boosted Business class to kind of help you to understand more intrinsically how these things work. Next slide, please. Now, let's talk about a business model specifically. Starbucks. Starbucks is a business that primarily sells coffee. Their primary revenue driver is coffee. So they generate funds primarily based on coffee. Now, their economic model has to do with how they spend, how they use the funds that they generate from coffee. Also, think about this. Coffee is your ticket into Starbucks, or the reason why you go to Starbucks. But once you get inside Starbucks, guess what? You have all these other different revenue drivers that you can actually take advantage of once you get in there, okay? Now, once you see a Starbucks symbol, you may think, well, when I see this, all I see is coffee. Well, that's not necessarily. Intrinsically, it says something else. Intrinsically, when you see a Starbucks, you're thinking culture, you're thinking environment. It makes you feel good when you walk inside a Starbucks because they call your name when your coffee's ready. You got soft music playing, you got lights that are dimmed a certain way. But also inside that Starbucks, you have access to all these different things. You got coffee, you got teas, you got pastries, you got lunch items, you got Wi-Fi that you can use. Okay, you got swag, cups, and all this other kind of stuff. So Starbucks pulls you in on the coffee aspect, but they also have all these other things at the ready that you can take advantage of. In your own particular business, as a veteran, what's going to be the one drawing card that you're going to have? And when you draw them on that one card, what else can you deliver at the very same time? For instance, if you have a lawn care business, okay? And I know people who have lawn care businesses, your primary focus is to make someone's yard look pretty. No problem with that, understand that. But as you're going to someone's house to do their yard, what else can you do? Can you clean gutters? Can you paint? Can you do small repairs, those kind of things? Expand upon your business model to have other things that you can do at the very same time to bring other revenues. Okay, next slide, please. So things you have to ask yourself before you open your doors with your veteran-owned business. How much money is it going to take you in sales to have a sustainable business? How much is it going to cost you to run your business a day, a week, a month, and a year? And we can help you understand all those things, okay? based on the research, how much is it going to cost you to deliver something, and at what price are you going to price it at to remain competitive in the business? So if I hold up a pen, and I say to you, it costs me 2 pennies to make this pen. That's how much it costs me to make this pen. But I'm going to sell this pen at $5. That's a huge margin between the cost and the price. Same thing going back to the Starbucks example. A cup of basic coffee, just basic, not the Frios, but a cup of basic coffee with the cup, the ingredients, the stirrer, and the top at Starbucks costs somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 cents, a quarter. That's how much it costs them to deliver that coffee to you. However, how much does it cost you to purchase that coffee from Starbucks? $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10. You see the difference? It costs them 25 cents. It's costing you $12, so that margin is huge. But you got to understand that as a business owner, what's my cost and what's my price? Next slide. Here, you got to understand the legal consideration. Now, we are not lawyers. We don't tell ourselves that we're lawyers. We don't claim to be lawyers. When it comes to legal questions, we always refer people to an attorney. Next slide. We tell people that there are various ways to protect yourself when it comes to getting involved in business. Okay, there are multiple ways. You got to understand those ways, because those ways are affected by how you're going to be taxed, your liability, and how you're going to have revenue and how you're going to get paid. Next slide. So one of the things you want to consider, and again, these are just some general entities that you can look at, you can take advantage of, but again, you need to speak to an attorney to determine which one of these is best for you. When we started our real estate company, we started as a sole proprietorship. We were meeting people in our home. We have a home office. We were meeting people in our home. We were coming in, sitting down, looking at houses, figuring out what they wanted, and we take them out and show them their homes. Well, guess what? If while they were in our home, something happened to them, they could have sued us, and everything we had was accessible to them. That's called unlimited liability. Okay. Partnership. A partnership is when 2 or more people come together to decide they want to go into business. You understand that. You can have joint, and you also have individual liability in that context. There's a shared financial commitment, and there's also shared profits. The most popular way to get involved in protecting yourself if you are a startup business is to do what's called an LLC, a limited liability company. It's the most popular, has a lease amount of paperwork, and again, there's limited personal exposure. So what is an LLC in a nutshell? You and your business are separate. So if something happens in the context of you doing business and someone wants to sue you, guess what they get? They get your business assets, not your personal assets. Okay, that's the difference in those 2 things. C Corp. A C Corp is an entity where you have shareholders and you are also taxed separately in that context. An S Corp, you have at least 100 shareholders or less. Okay, you're taxed as a partnership, and you are taxed also through the corporate losses as well. B Corp is one of the newest kids on the block. B Corp is a company that's designed, or the protection of a company or corporation that's designed to benefit society at large. They are socially and environmentally focused. Think about places like Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream. You probably didn't think about it, but Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream is what's called a B Corp. A large amount of their proceeds, revenue, go toward bettering society. Patagonia, a sportswear corporation. Bomba socks. You've probably been hearing commercials about Bomba socks on radio and TV because they are blowing up in that context. Okay, and also Athleta. That's a female workout clothing kind of place. So those are called B Corps, and they're designed to help you to understand that most of their revenue goes toward making sure that society or people in society are better. Okay, next slide. This is one of the most important things that you're going to need to know about. I promise you, one of the most important things. You need to have what's called a BAIL team. BAIL. BAIL stands for bank or banker, accountant, insurance agent, and lawyer. Anyone who's going to do business, you need to have these people on your team. A banker. Why do you need a banker? Because one of the things you want to do when you're in business is open up a business bank account. Okay, so you can start generating things. Get you a business credit card. So you can start purchasing things on your business credit card in the name of the business. At some point, you may need a loan. Why not establish a relationship with a local bank that can help you? An accountant. Get an accountant to help you to do your books. Don't get your cousin's uncle from your third neighbor down the road. Get you a qualified accountant who can help you to do your books. An insurance agent. Why do you need insurances? Especially if you have a brick and mortar, you're going to need insurances to protect you. So some commercial insurances, okay? from those types of things. So get an insurance agent to help you understand the type of insurances that you're going to need. And the last one, get you a lawyer for contracts, for licenses. I mean, for all those types of things, get you a lawyer who can help you to understand how those things work. Okay. Now, BAIL, you need to get you a bail team. A bail team is designed to do what? To keep you out of jail. So get you a bail team. They're going to keep you out of jail. Okay. Next slide. Financing. If I get this question once, I get it 10 times a day. Next slide. People always say, and this is how the question, this is how the conversation goes. Okay. This is a perfect conversation. All right, the phone will ring, I pick up the phone, I give an introduction, I say, hey, how can I help you? And people say, hey, I heard that there was some free money to start my business. You mean free money to start your business? They say, yeah, I heard there's some free money to start my business. I'm a veteran, I'm service disabled, I serve my country, and I heard there's free money to start my business. Well, no, there's no free money to start your business. Your business is started based on what's called founder savings. And this is the next question I ask them. I say, well, how much money do you need? And this is the answer I get 9 times out of 10. Well, I think I need close to somewhere in the neighborhood, roundabout. That's the answer I get. And I say, well, 2 things you're going to need. The first thing you're going to need is a business plan. And the second thing you're going to need is to tell me exactly how much money you're going to need. And your business plan will tell you exactly how much money you're going to need. Now, I bring that back to financing. The money to start your business comes from you. Your checking, your savings. But you got to sit down and write this information down to figure out exactly how you're going to use the funds that you're going to get. Look at the type of information that's out there. Do you need funding for equipment? Do you need inventory? Do you need working capital? What do you need the funding for? Most of the people that call me don't have an idea. And so my goal is to help to navigate them, help to put them in a position where they can sit down and understand these things better. That's why we encourage people to come to our 2-day Boost to Business Introduction to Entrepreneurship class. And then there are 2 actual ways to kind of get it. You got to ask yourself, what kind of funding do you need? Do you want to go into debt, which is generally how most people go? Think of a house or a car, those kind of things. Or do you want to go to equity financing, working with a venture capitalist or an angel investor? Either way is fine. Just determine which one is best for you. But most of the money to start your business comes from you. 67% of the money to start a business comes from you. Next slide. Now, the question you also have to ask, how much money have you already saved to start your business? An example, I had a couple to come in to see me on Monday. They want to start a food truck in an arts and crafts business. And I asked them a couple of questions. The first question I asked them was this: how much money have you already saved for this venture you want to get into? They had saved a very small amount. And I said, well, that's going to be an issue. Problematically, you need to save more money. Okay. I asked them also, what are your personal finances like? What's your debt level like? Because that's going to be important. I also asked them, what's your credit score like? And the question, when I ask that question, I always get this answer. Well, I'm kind of working on my credit right now. And I say, that's fine. That's fine. I understand that. But at the same time you're trying to start a business, you got to work on your credit, because at some point you may need a lender, and the lender's going to look at your credit to figure out if you're a good credit risk to give you a loan that's going to be backed or guaranteed by the SBA to get this particular funding. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, speaking of the SBA does not lend money, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 items, but the SBA does not lend money. What the SBA does is they guarantee or they back the funding that you get. So think about this. If you bought a house as a veteran, did you go to Veteran Bank 123 and say, hey, Veteran Bank, I'm a veteran, you're a veteran bank, give me a loan to buy me a house? You didn't do that. You went to Wells Fargo, you went to Bank of America, you went to somebody and say, hey, I want to get qualified to purchase a home. And what they did, they asked you a question. Are you a veteran? They say, yes. Well, we're going to go to the VA to get your certificate of eligibility to determine how much house you can afford. Same thing with a business working with the SBA. If you want to get a loan guaranteed or backed by the SBA, you go to a lender, your local lender, you get qualified. If you want to use an SBA backed loan, you let them know that, and they'll give you the options of loans that are available to you, and you determine which one you want the SBA to back or guarantee. And what that means is this: if you get a house for, say, you get a business loan for $100,000, the SBA may guarantee probably 75% of it, just in case we happen to default. Okay, their primary concern is making sure that the bank gets their money back in that context. Okay, so keep that in mind. Next slide. Now, I said it before, but this is where most of the money comes from to start your business. Personal savings and credit, 57%. Friends and family, 38%. And I always tell people in class when I'm talking to you, as you're looking at this slide, do you see anything up there in one of those slices that says free money? No, you don't see free money. You know why? Because it's not there. There's no free money, okay? And also this, there are no grants to start up your business. There's no grants to start up your business. People say, well, I want to get a VA grant. I want to get a grant. There are no startup grants to start your business, okay? This is where the money comes from. And when I help people understand this, then I let them know this is more than a notion to get involved in business. You got to understand the realities of doing this. Put your life in order, put your finances in order, put your business plan together, and you can see how this is going to benefit you in that context. Next slide. The 5 C's. When you start talking about getting a loan from a lender, any lender, they're going to look for these things. What's your credit like? Okay, what's your score? What's your ability to repay these loans? What's your history in repaying the loans? What type of collateral do you have to get this business loan? Do you have a house? Do you have land? Do you have other business? What do you have? What's your commitment? How committed to you are you to actually getting a business loan and getting involved in business? Why do I say that? Well, because a lender will tell you, if you want to come to me to get a loan to get a business started and you're still working a full-time job, your commitment is not probably where it needs to be at this point for us to do this, okay? They're going to look at that. They're going to weigh that in that context. Also, they're going to look at your character, okay? They don't know you from Adam, but they look at your credit report. They do a history on places that you've been or business that you've had, and they're going to use that in that context. Also, they're going to look at cash flow. How much funding can you put your hand on if an emergency comes up in your business, or all your funds tied up in what you're trying to get done? They're going to look at that, okay? Equity. You guys have all seen Shark Tank. You understand that? They generally are looking for a high return on investment for a higher investment in you. So you want to understand that. With equity or angel investors or venture capitalists, they're trying to make sure that you give them a whole lot of money back based on what they're going to give you. Okay, they can also give you mentorship and counseling, and they can give you referrals to other organizations and people who kind of move you along in your ventures. All right, next slide. Again, SBA loans. If this is the route that you want to go, again, the SBA will back or guarantee your loan. The lowest amount you can get from the SBA is $500. The highest amount you can get is $5.5 million. Again, these are guaranteed. They are backed by the SBA. Now, I told you before that the SBA generally does not lend money. The only time that the SBA actually lends money is during a disaster recovery. Okay, a few years ago, if there's a hurricane that occurs, there's a tornado that occurs, and they actually go on the spot and they figure out exactly the amount of damage that's done, and they'll write you a check right there on the spot in those contexts. Of course, over the past year, we deal with the pandemic. Now, I like to tell people this when it comes to the SBA. Think about this. On a normal year, on a normal pre-pandemic, on a normal year, the SBA averages $30 billion in guaranteed or backed loans on a normal year. When the pandemic hit, and for those first 4, 5, 6 months, they gave out $350 billion in loans and PPP and IDA. So I like to tell people, cut the SBA a little bit of slack, because they were overwhelmed like the rest of us was when it came to, they were giving out $30 billion and they had to give out all of a sudden $350 billion. Okay, so they were backlogged, they were like the rest of us, they had to get their footing and get things in place. Okay, next slide. Business plan. Next slide. This is the most important part of getting a business started. And I tell people, if you get this right, then your business will be right. As we go around to Georgia, South Carolina, teaching this class, and at the end of a class, someone will inevitably come to me and say, you know what? I don't think I want to do this. And I say, good. And I ask them why. It takes too much time. It takes too much money, and I don't want to do it. And I say, good. We've done what we designed to, what we intended to do, to help you make a conscious decision about whether or not being a veteran entrepreneur is for you, because it's not for everybody. We want to make sure people understand that this is more than a notion. This business plan, this is where people run or they get scared or they get nervous. Now, this takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. But again, we have SBA Resource partners and friends who can help you to navigate this. Okay, so why do a business plan? I told you before, most businesses fail within the first 3 to 5 years because of lack of funding and a lack of planning. And the business plan can help you to understand how to navigate the first few years of your business. Why? Because your business plan is designed to project for the next 3 to 5 years what your business is intended to do. And it puts you in a position to work toward those things, okay? It takes everything out of your head and put it down on paper. It helps you to analyze what's going on. It helps you to understand about the decision-making. It helps you to understand about getting loans and an investment. Next slide. What's inside a business plan? Your concept, your idea, your product, your process, or your service. Your industry description. If you're getting involved in restaurants, if you're getting involved in auto sales, whatever the business is, your business plan should contain your industry description and what that description is doing. It also should have your market research, your market analysis, what you've done to identify how you're going to connect with your people. It also should have your economics, your cost, your price, your volume, your operating leverage. Number 7, your management team. You should have a team in place, and that team should be inside of your business plan. Of your manager, it's going to be CEO, it's going to be COO, it's going to be a store manager, whatever the case may be. You need to plan for those things. Number 8, risks and assumptions. You need to understand that certain things in business just going to happen, and you have to assume they're going to happen, and you have to mitigate and plan for those things in the case that they're going to happen. All right. Also, number 10, financial projections. How much do you plan to make in the first year, second year, third year, fourth year? That's important. Now, Pete can tell you, because one of our SBA partners and friends is called Mississippi State University, and they offer a course that's called Boost to Business Revenue Readiness. Now, the way it works is this. You start with us. We give you a great foundation. We help you to understand how this entire SBA ecosystem works. And then we begin to connect you with certain partners based on what you're trying to get done. The very first partner we connect you with, if you're serious about getting involved in business, is connecting with the Mississippi State University Boost to Business Revenue Readiness course. It's a free 6-week course that will help you to do the work design to come out of it with a ready, willing, concrete business plan. They're not going to do the work for you, but they're going to guide and navigate you through every aspect of how to put your business plan together. They're going to help you again to take the information out of your head, put it down on paper in a very organized and coherent format so that anyone who's trying to invest in your business or help you in your business, they can see the part they can play as you move forward. Okay, next slide. This is what's called a business model canvas, and this is what you're going to use in the Boost to Business Revenue Readiness course. We're going to go through all 9 of these. And again, this is work. It's free. You meet 2 days a week, 1 hour a day, but there's work that has to be done to get your business plan where it needs to be. Okay. Number 1, what's the value proposition? Which one of your customers' needs are you trying to solve? Okay. Number 3, how are you going to reach your customers? Where are they? Number 4, how are you going to get them, keep them, and grow? Number 6, who are your key resources? Who are your key partners? Number 7, who are your key partners? Who are you working with? Okay. Who are your vendors? Who are your contractors? Okay. Number 8, what's your revenue model? What's your business model? Okay. Number 9, what are the most important costs in your business? Those are things, again, you may have not thought about them, or you do have them in your head, but you got to put them down on paper, and our resource partners can help you do that. Next slide. Number 8, next slide. This kind of just gives you a very, very small overview. Again, number 1, we are the Veteran Business Outreach Center. Our goal is to connect transitioning military, veterans, Guard Reserve, and their spouses who are looking to start, grow, purchase, or expand their business. One of our resource partners is called SCORE. This is an all-volunteer organization, been around since 1960. Their goal is to take you by the hand and walk with you through every aspect of no matter where you are in your business, they'll work with you. They're experts in many different fields. And there's a SCORE office no matter where you are in the U.S. The SBDC, Small Business Development Center, a great resource partner. They have a lot of marketing tools. They will sit down with your business plan if you need a loan to make sure that your business plan is lender ready. They help you cross your I's, cross your T's, and dot your I's. They'll make sure that it's ready. Number 4, Women's Business Center, speaking in the language of women. They're not exclusive to women. Men are welcome, but they speak the language of women to make sure women are given the focus they need to get their business started. PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Center. If you want to get involved in government contracting, this is an organization to reach out to. If you're in a rural area, Because I know specifically here in Georgia, we have a focus through the SBA on making sure that the rural businesses are reached and have the resources and support they need. Number 7, energy efficient improvements. If you want to start, if you want to get involved with real estate and they're building home subdivisions, think about those solar panels. That's a very trending market right now. Okay, and other aspects that are out there, all right? And number 8, like I mentioned before about Pete, that's called Boots to Business Revenue Readiness Course. Again, it's free, 6 weeks, you meet twice a week, 1 hour a day, and they walk you through putting your business plan together. So this is our ecosystem when it comes to SBA on the ground, face-to-face individuals that you can talk to, work with, reach out to, and they will help you to understand if you are a veteran and you're trying to get involved in a business ownership, we can help you. I put us number 1 because, again, we hope to be number 1. If you reach out to us first, we can help you to get in contact with everybody else, no matter where you are in the U.S. So as I said before, we are VBOC, Veteran Business Outreach Center. We handle Georgia and South Carolina, but there are 22 VBOCs across the U.S. So no matter where you are, there's a VBOC that can help you, that you can start with, that can work with you as you move forward. In Florida, my mentor, the original VBOC, is in Florida. They can help you as well. So no matter where you are, there's one of these 8 resource partners that can help you to get your business started. All right, next slide. This is who I am. This is where I'm located. Again, I have the states of Georgia, South Carolina, and you can reach me by email, Tim.Craig at GAVector. That's GAVECTR.org. And let me just kind of pause for a minute to talk about Vector. Vector is very unique because we are the only one of our kind in the United States. We are a one-stop shop for everything veteran. We handle employment, we handle education, and we handle entrepreneurship. We've been in existence since 2016, and other states have come in to view our model so they can actually replicate or duplicate our model in their particular states. We're unique, one of our kind, and we're doing great things and great work, again, for veterans and their spouses. So if you happen to be in Georgia, or you're moving to Georgia, or you didn't know about us in Georgia, please reach out to me and we can get you taken care of. Okay? Next slide. That's it for me, Pete.
And I think that is awesome today. We have so much information that you shared with us. One thing for sure, I'm going to be using that chicken and pig analogy there. That story is awesome. Except that if I come across as the pig, my passion for bacon, I don't know, but I'm all in. That's for sure. Also, fail to plan, plan to fail. Really key. I think a lot of us that come from the military understand or have a very good understand. I can't tell you how many times I hated those drills on the boat, but drilling, it helps, right? And I've got a couple questions that
Sure.
I've received. I received one from Cindy in Kings Bay, Georgia.
Okay, stop on that point. I will be in Kings Bay on the, I'll be teaching this class at Kings Bay on the 15th and 16th. So in 2 weeks, I'll be in Kings Bay.
Oh, awesome. She had a question. Yeah, she had a question about, she's still in active duty, but she plans to retire in a year. Can she get in contact with you?
Yes, she sure can.
Oh, that's good.
As a matter of fact, most people that come to our classes, so basically it's part of the transition assistance program. So basically in 3 to 6 months of getting out, they come to our class, but people come to our class before that because again, they're planning to retire. So they want to start a year ahead. And so it's a good time for her to actually come and see us now. We can help put things in place for her. That's great.
And she has a follow-up question about the VBOC. Does it matter which VBOC she connects to specifically?
No, it does not. It does not. But if you're looking to connect in a particular state, then we can help you with all the resources in those particular states. But no, you don't have to.
Great, because she was talking about, she's in Georgia right now, but within a year she's planning to get out, but she's going to go back to New York.
Okay, great. So we can help her get started, and then we can hand off to New York. There's no worries at all.
Excellent. Those are all the questions I got. I know we're kind of short in time. I want to thank everyone for attending today's Business to Talk, BizTalk Thursday.
Peter,
and
you may
Darrin,
ask the audience if they had any questions because there's some people there still.
Okay. If any of the participants have any questions, could you go into the Q&A section? I don't see. Now's the time. just go into the Q&A or the chat, and we could perhaps answer some of those questions for you.
I know I was talking fast, but I have a short period of time. There's so much information I want to get out. So,
Tim,
again,
I couldn't believe you squeezed that in that time. I mean, that was fast. Well,
Okay,
those
I
are the
guess,
only two questions I had. Darrin, if you have anything to say.
No, we just want to say thank you for everybody attending and look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Awesome. So we'll be seeing you next week. Look for any of our mailers that'll be going out, passing on the information, and pass the information along to not only just veterans, but entrepreneurs. This is a far-reaching group in Startups United. We intend to help everyone and anyone that comes to our doors. And if you can, reach out to us directly at team@startupsunited.co. Again, we're kind of like a boutique one-stop shop where we try to help everyone. Too many times we're seeing small questions, small little problems could be solved, but it stops the business. And we've got to definitely hand out and reach out to everyone that we can. We'll take our experiences. If we don't have the answer, we'll get it to someone that does. And we think in the terms that we need to pay things forward. You know, what we learned as entrepreneurs, we have our experience. We want to share it with everyone else. So I'd like to thank everyone for today's presentation, especially you, Tim. We look to do a lot of business with you in the future.
Hey,
and everyone, thank you. And everyone have a great and safe weekend.